everyone. My name is Simone, and I'm from Hired. And I want to welcome everyone back to day 2 of the Global Fairs. And welcome back to everyone who was here with us yesterday. Yesterday was Career Development Day, where we had some really nice webinars who gave us insights into job searching, AI, and recruitment. And if you missed out on any of the videos of the webinars yesterday, you can see them as videos on the conference tab anytime you want. So that's really nice. We also had some really good questions from the students. So go ahead and keep using the chat in the webinars today. And today is the Employer Day. So we will have webinars from 5 different companies. We actually have quite a full schedule today. In the webinars, you'll meet recruiters who will share knowledge about their company and also insights into recruitment and how to land a job there. And you can chat with them directly through the chat section. We're starting off at 12 with Solvay, and we'll have Amazon at 1. We'll have Ferring Pharmaceuticals at 3, no, at 2, and Alpha Sites at 3. And at 4, we will have BAT. They will be joining us with a little group from different countries and different positions in the company. And throughout the day, you will also be able to check out the job postings on the job page where you can apply for jobs. And there will also be selected recruiters that you can chat to in the booth page. So you can just click on booths and you will see who is live at the moment. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, where you can see updates throughout the day. Before we start off with the company's presentations and webinars, I would like to give the word to my colleague Matthias, who will be joining us from Belfast. And he will give some tips on how to approach employers with confidence. Hi, Matthias. I will give the word to you.
Good morning, Simone. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Yes, well, I'm just looking out of the window, reasonably windy Belfast, from a recording booth at Queen's University Belfast. I'm reaching out to you today. I want to say right away, please, 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 please start asking questions in the chat, because this session here is really for you to prep how you're going to go through the day. You'll be having an opportunity to speak with employers. There'll be, I mean, this is a fair after all. So I'm just basically, I'm that short moment in the morning where we just calm down a little bit and where we think about all the things that we want to say, how we can say them, and maybe also the things we're a little bit scared to ask or be asked. So see, I'm already kind of calming us all down because it's going to be a busy day, as Simone just said. So into the chat, please. Start writing your questions specifically today on how to reach out to employers in a fair setting. I'm going to introduce you to a really important high-tech tool now, which will be your best friend today. Pen and paper. Everyone who's had a webinar with me or a conversation will know that I'm a big fan of handwriting notes for various reasons, but especially today, there'll be moments where you'll really want to hold on to a couple of thoughts. So that's probably my first tip. Isn't actually about reaching out and talking. It's very much about listening and writing, because there'll be so many things today that will just be said at some point, and you may think, "Oh, I'll just watch this in the recording again." Yes, but will you really remember? So first things first. Now, well, don't run away now, but as soon as we basically parted ways in a couple of minutes, I want you to get pen and paper, have it ready next to your screen as you engage in the day. That's number one. Number two, so that's about listening, and that's about keeping track of your thoughts, and taking down some action points to follow up. Oh, the first question's coming in. Hi, Matthias. Would you recommend starting point blank on the positions which are available with the recruiter, or should focus more on introducing ourselves and discussing previous experience? Well, in principle, Nema, it's a very good question. Love it. Keep them coming, please. Um, that depends a little bit. Try to get the vibe from the recruiter, what they want to talk about. But I mean, knowing the positions you're interested in is one thing, but knowing about yourself and being able to talk about yourself in a way that you get remembered, I think probably has the edge here. I would have basically now delved into talking about like a personal elevator pitch. Um, and I think this is where Nemal's question is basically going. So if the recruiter doesn't want to kind of speak about the position, you are the person you should be speaking about. So, how do you kind of pitch in a convincing way for yourself? Now, it's always said, oh, you got to sell yourself, you got to sell yourself. And I'm going to say, no, that's a little bit maybe too commercial. Think about marketing, what you have to offer. That's a lot less pushy because you do not want to come over pushy or even desperate. That can quickly happen. More along the lines of, what do I actually have to offer? This is where your friend, pen and paper, comes in. I would like you to, I really hope that you can do it now. Think about what makes you special and different from potentially other candidates. That's probably the first thought I would want you to put down. Don't have to put it into the chat, but think about what would make you a good colleague and what makes you different. Maybe take your peers a little bit because you don't know who's going to apply for the positions and what other conversations the company will have. And if I can get you to relax with regards to thinking you're in competition with others, but you are all part of a kind of today of a community in which you all try to, well, make people aware of the kind of the specialness that you have to offer. I think that will lead to much more relaxed approaches and will also probably show you in a light that will, well, will probably be more convincing. So, pen and paper. Yes, I accept that some people might still be typing, but actually, pen and paper is really going to be good because I want you to revisit this during the day and think about what makes you different. And that could be pretty much anything. And I'm not saying you should be leading with that, but I want you to start thinking about what makes you different. I'll give you an example. Um, I have a couple of things in my past that I used to just kind of drop into self introductions. Um, what gets attention, what used to get attention is that I was a published book author by the age of 17. I mean, that's quite a long time ago, but that's what I used to drop into interviews. And occasionally I would actually bring a copy of one of my books to an interview because a lot of the roles that I went for had a publishing aspect in the early parts of my career. So dropping that in would be something that would make me different because I knew other people wouldn't have that experience. Or I used to live in Japan for a while. Again, you kind of drop that in. Why would you drop something in that actually doesn't have something to do with your job itself? Well, look at the cohort in which you're moving. You all will have a comparable experience. The majority of you will have gone to business school and will be in some kind of management or business related program with a couple of variations. Yes, there'll be other areas represented as well, but you'll be part of a cohort. So, from the perspective of the employer, they may be confronted with a lot of people during the day, and they'll be having a lot of conversations. And as someone who's recruited a lot as well, I know that it's sometimes difficult to remember everyone with everything. So what you try to do is create a little hook, a narrative about yourself. Um, I remember working with a Italian student many years ago. I was doing a kind of a master's degree in management, and they're actually a football player, as a professional football player for well, not a famous one, but for a known club. And part of their pitch was that we built in that fact. I mean, they always said, "Well, I'm not entirely sure. That's not nothing to do with what I'm studying and what I want to do now." And I said, "Well, that's true, but in a lineup, you're shortlisted, five other candidates. You want someone to say at some point, what about the football player? They were great." So, in the context of branding yourself, and again, we talked yesterday about, and we talked about it in one of the master classes on networking. That's something to kind of check out. And the recent talk about LinkedIn. All again, you should be able to access to the master classes on the Hyatt platform. Um, you try to find something about you that's memorable, um, and is less likely that three other people will have that. Does that guarantee you a progression? No. But at this stage, it's all about being remembered. So, what do we have so far? We have note taking, active listening. We have trying to create a hook about your story, and this is something that, by the way, if you want to like, if you want to test drive some in the chat, that's fine. Again, you're not really competing with each other in the classical sense, so feel free to put anything into the chat, because I mean, I can go for a coffee if there are no questions coming, just saying. The next thing I'd like you to do, so once you've kind of created that hook, and you may change it throughout the day, you may actually want to like test it out. Yesterday, we talked about being agile and iterating ideas. So uh, you might try one hook with one company and a different one with another one. Just basically see how that goes. Um, the next thing I'd like you to do is be able to summarize who you are professionally and a little bit personally as well. So, um, yes, it's perfectly fine to lead with which academic program you're on and when you're expected to leave and kind of what grades you are having, and maybe also kind of a relevant project. And that should, as far as you can do, be tailored. So Solvay will be different than Amazon, will be different than BAT. So think about and research the companies you might be talking to. Oh, I've got Carlos with a banger question coming right there. I'll come to that in a moment. Actually, it leads really into what I was supposed to say, because Carlos is asking, when asked, tell me about yourself, how would you suggest to deal with this question? Is it only from the professional side? And the answer to that is no. Tell me about yourself, which is your elevator pitch. It's kind of the thing that I was leading to. So we're kind of halfway through answering that question already. I just started at the end. Tell me about yourself is always leading with your current program and your achievements in it. Um, when are you expected to leave the program? And kind of if you got good grades, that's where you kind of start pointing out to that. And maybe say, well, actually, I'm doing my dissertation on hopefully something that kind of links into what the company's been looking for. Then you look at your professional background and history. That will be different for an experienced hire for someone who comes out of a master's program and for someone who's on an undergraduate program. But you're at a careers fair. People will know that there'll be limits to the experience that you have. So don't be shy. If you do not yet have what you would deem relevant experience, think of transferable experience. A transferable experience is where you've done something in another context, which may be a useful skill to have. So you've got plenty of time to research the companies you're going to go for. Have a look at what they value. Have a look at your CV and check out if there's anything in there. So let's say they like people with, I don't know, let's say strategic thinking, and you were part of your chess team in school, not even in university yet. You can refer back to that. Um, what did I have yesterday? Oh yes, someone is basically going for a finance position, and and I was asking them, so what's your experience? And so, well, I just work at a golf club. I said, okay, give me more. And it turned out that they were doing receipts and reconciliation and cash handling for the golf club shop. That's commercial experience. I mean, this is someone very much in the early stages of their career, but they hadn't made the connection yet to transfer the knowledge they've gained somewhere else to potentially move into the position they're hiring for. So transferable experiences. Still sticking with Carlos here. So educational, and then whatever you have in terms of uh, non-educational core curricular or work experience. Do not retell your CV. Pick one or two examples that show things about you, and then round it off with something more personal about you. Just as I said, oh, um, a sports team in which you've been active. Oh, what did I say earlier? Oh, I was a published author by the age of 17. So you have effectively three areas of information which you share. And I would always try to move into at the end saying, tell me about yourself. You should always answer also the question, why you're in this conversation here today. So I really like Solvay because of. That's how you do tell me about yourself. It is a little elevator pitch. Valeria, how would you incorporate this different aspect into your introduction? Wouldn't it appear somewhat unusual to the interviewer if they're expecting me to focus on my professional experience? The answer is no. They won't. First of all, they're interviewing people, not robots. So my advice here would be that, well, first of all, you can always ask, and it's always a question, kind of which part of the interview you're in. If they're in the process of exploring your professional experience, then have at it. I would still argue that sometimes things you're doing outside will say something about your ability to do things within the job. So, um, okay, I'll give you an example about myself because I love talking about myself. Um, I organize role-playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. Actually, online just as much. My regular practice of speaking in public with people I don't know, at conventions, people I've never met, online as well as offline, helps me in my role now here. Now, I've never been paid for this, but I've learned how to act in front of a camera, um, and how to interact with an audience that I potentially can't see or I've never met. So there are transferables. And especially if you're early in your career, you may not have all the professional experience that they'll be looking for. So, Valeria, draw in to other things. You can always ask the magic words at the end of every question when you're unsure that you've answered it properly. And that is, did that answer your question? Would you like me to give another example, or would you like me to give more detail? An interviewer will like that because it shows active participation and it gives you a second chance should you have gone off piste a little bit. Right, I was told 5 minutes to go, and that's like 2 minutes ago. So I think I've got about 3 minutes. Any more questions? So what do we have? Yeah, active listening. Do your research on them. My I think the secret weapon that you can always deploy is a really good question about them that shows that you are interested, not just, oh, I just want to get this job. No, 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 no. You are trying to join a company. Companies define themselves as cultures. They define themselves as as yes, as cultures and sometimes as communities these days. So showing an interest in them as social constructs is actually also a good thing. Oh, one more from Nicole. Try to get this in time. When we're not selected for a position and receive a negative response, is it important to reply thanking them for the opportunity and expressing openness to future opportunities? The answer to that is yes. First things first thing first, not selected is not necessarily a negative response. Not selected for a position may mean someone just edged in front of you, but we really liked you. So a negative response I would see as something where they kind of critique you and say, we can't hire you because. Actually, you should go a little bit further. Yes, say thank you. It's perfectly say, I'm disappointed. I really liked you. Hello, hire me. And expressing openness for future opportunities. Absolutely. Also, put a marker in your calendar and 3 months later, apply again. I have applied for positions up to 3 times. So, you know, uh, for a specific place, and they took me in the end. So, um, I, in this context, no means maybe no today, but not later. So yes, um, stay interested, and most important thing, try to find out why. Get some constructive critique from them, because you can use that next time you apply in every other application. Piyush, thanks for the advice, because often newcomers like myself don't know what the questions actually mean. It doesn't as directly said, so asking that did answer your question is genius. Yeah, I know, I know. I mean, if I could make a book out of it, I would, but I think just did that answer your question? Probably not enough. Maybe a short essay. Thank you very much. Oh, coconut music. Is it common for companies to give detailed feedback? No, it's not. You got to ask for it. I wish it was. Large companies sometimes do it kind of automatically. Most places don't. So, no, ask. And to be fair, in most cases, you won't get something useful. But you got to ask, because 1 in 10, maybe, or 1 in 5 may give you an answer you can work with. Take it, whatever it is. Say thank you. Think about it. Note it down. Write about it, and see what you can change in your approach. Right, I think I'm going to be booted out now because we're at the end of time.
Thank you so much, Matthias. That was some really
Thank
good
you.
insights. I have my pen and
Yes,
paper
that's it.
ready for the day. I hope
That's
everyone
the
else
spirit.
has that as well. And the next webinar will be at 12 with Solway. So we hope to see everyone throughout the day. And have a good Global Affairs day too. Goodbye.